Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Today, we will focus primarily on the new feature that we have recently released, which allows users to send pre-onboarding workflows to prospects or quotes or proposals to people who are not yet customers, so they don't have access to portals. But before I get into the new feature, just for those of you who are new to MyDocSafe, just 5 minutes about the platform before I get into the new feature. So the homepage is where you have the settings and the dashboards telling you what's happening in the account. The sales flows is where you define your services and prices and all the service descriptions, which you can then later on use in various types of workflows. Contacts is basically a mini CRM where you hold your client information. Documents is the area through which you send documents for signing, create questionnaires if you want to send them on sort of standalone basis. It's the area that is intended for internal purposes only. You can sort of send documents for signing and get signed copies back into this area, but this area is not shared with, or it's not intended to be shared with your clients. It's for internal purposes only. And portals is where all the portal groups and client data that is shared will be stored and managed. And finally, signatures are the dashboards for collect all documents that have been sent out for signatures by anyone in your organization. So you could easily find them, cancel them, send manual reminders if needed, or simply just audit the actions of others. So these are the main areas of the platform, but today I want to focus on our new type of portal group, which allows you to send workflows such as these. This is an example workflow to prospects. Various industries use different names for this. This could be a quote, it could be a proposal, it could be pre-onboarding workflow, you name it. The idea is build a template of actions that you want your counterparty to go through, and then you trigger that workflow very easily by sending an email invitation, and then the person who receives it simply clicks on a link in an email and gets straight into it. So that speeds up the process. It basically enables business. So how do you go about using this new feature? Well, the first thing to do is to actually create a portal group that is dedicated to those workflows. We call it a prospects group. So you just can select any name, click create a prospect group, and then create that group here. I have already created one before this demo and sent a few workflows. So the group looks like this. It's basically a dashboard showing you the list of all the workflows that have been sent out. We'll be using the term workflows or proposals interchangeably here. And each of those workflows can pretty much look like this, but the configurations are countless, and the workflows can be templated the way you need. So how do you go about starting it? Well, if you don't have any templates in your account yet, you could start from scratch. So you just click on the plus button, select the email address of someone you want to send the test workflow to. I will create a new user here. And if you have a workflow templates defined, they will show up here, but let's assume we don't have anything yet. So we'll just go and start from scratch. So we go to step 2, and this is where you will see a workflow editor that lets you assemble the proposal or the pre-onboarding workflow. We call it pretty much a workflow. And how do you go about assembling it? Well, first of all, you have complete step that is always here because every workflow needs to have an end page, but everything else really depends on you, and you could build it using all those elements. So you have going from the bottom, you have the video, you have an ID verification step, you can break the process by stopping the steps that have been already completed and then resuming it by triggering an email. You could ask for data through questionnaires, you could have just a message page, you could show services that you are promising to offer or you have agreed to deliver with their prices. and either just ask for the quote to be confirmed, or also you could ask for a payment through Stripe. And then you have two widgets with documents. One is to show a document that can simply be viewed, and really that's it, just approved by clicking a button. Or you could actually ask for a signature, and that's ideal for engagement letters if you want to sign them using this type of workflow. So, well, you could select each of those widgets and then configure them. And then once they are configured, they would then be added to the workflow. So if I just select a dummy document for the request signature step, you go through a settings page, and then the document will open up in a viewer. You will be able to drag and drop signature fields and any other type of fields, resize them, rename them. And once you're happy, you simply save that step, close the widget, and now it's added to the workflow. And you could carry on with other steps. So if you would like a questionnaire, you could click on the form button and then rename it if you want. So this could be pre-onboarding questionnaire, and then you need to select it from the list of form templates. In your account, if it's an empty account, you won't have any templates here, so you will need to create them, and I'll show you how to do this in a minute. So once you have all the steps built in, you could save it as a draft, or you could complete and then send the proposal to the counterparty. Let's take a look and click send. So now the workflow is out. It is on the list, as you could see it here. And if I now go to the inbox of the person who's supposed to receive it, the email has already arrived. This is what it looks like. And if the person clicks on the proceed button, they will be able to go through the workflow. Now, I can't do this right now because I'm logged in to another account in this browser, but I'm going to show it. So I would need to sign out from here and try this again. So here we go to the first step, and the first step is, if I remember correctly, the signature. So here it is, that's the document. The person can click on the signature button, type their name, add the signature, and then submit the document and go on to the next step, which in this case is a pre-onboarding workflow. And this would just require the person to fill all the steps and carry on. Now, if the person doesn't have the time to do it straight away, they can just close it and leave this window and then go back to it later on through this link to resume the work. But as you could see, this is not a portal. We're not in a sort of 100% secure environment because there is no login. Therefore, these workflows are primarily designed for collection of basic information, for signing of an engagement letter and showing services and quotes. So if you need to collect highly sensitive information, you may decide to actually not use this type of workflow for this action, but instead move that workflow to a secure portal and do it through the portal. Now let me actually leave this account and go back to the administrator's account and tell you a bit more about templates. So in order to use the workflows quickly, you want to prepare the elements that you use frequently. And these include, at the moment, forms. So you could create questionnaires using the add form button, and then you could build the questionnaire yourself using all those widgets. There are many tutorials in our knowledge database that tell you how to do it. These forms can be logic-based. You could enforce certain type of data that you allow. You could make fields optional or not, or you could sort of readjust the contents of the forms based on previous answers. So these are the questionnaires. Now, the second element are templates of entire workflows, and that's very useful if you communicate with prospects in a sort of similar fashion, and you would like to send them templated workflows, and you don't want to build them on the fly all the time, or if you would like your entire sales team to share sort of a pre-agreed template so that you speak the same language. So it's very easy to do. It's exactly the same workflow editor. The only difference is that here you just create a template. So you could create a library of those templates And then when you are ready to send a workflow to a person, you simply select it from the drop-down list. Those templates will appear right here. So let me trigger that templated workflow now to somebody else. We will select a new user. So there'll be, let's say, Adam Johnson, and then we click on step 2. So now what the system does, it imports the template, it creates a clone from it, and it's right here. It's ready to go. Of course, you may want to readjust it if you need to upload a bespoke document template and different types of services. So let's say I would like to add a services widget to this workflow. So this is how it will appear. You can now turn on the services you would like to offer to the client and readjust their pricing on the fly if they need to be adjusted. But this list actually comes from your sales flows settings. So you would need to build that list of services first to use sales flows inside the workflows. So let's add a few of those and save. So services are right here. Maybe I would like to do that to show that widget before the document. I'll save the order, and now I can complete and send and say, please take a look. So the proposal is now out. I can now go back to my email and take a look. Yes, and indeed the invitation has just arrived. I can proceed to the proposal and it will open up straight away. And you could see the first step is a video. We accept either YouTube or Vimeo links. Then after that, in that workflow, we had a questionnaire, a rather simple one. So let's say I'm going to find an address. Well, maybe find an address somewhere. Maybe I'll use some sort of UK postcode, and let's say that's the one. And once the person fills out the questionnaire, they can move on to the next step, which is the quote. And as you can see, the quote, it shows the list of services that you've selected in the widget, summarizes the entire quote here on the bottom based on the frequency of payments that you request. So here we have 3 one-off payments that are summed up to £30, and there's 1 monthly payment as well. So you could see that split here. And then the option that this person has is pretty much to accept it and move on. In another scenario, you could also ask the person to set up a payment method through Stripe, so provide card details, and then those payments would start being processed by Stripe. So a one-off payment would be taken straight away, and then a monthly payment would be set up. And in your settings in MyDocSafe, you could specify how many recurring payments you want to take as well. So let's say you click accept the quote, and the person accepts the quote and then moves on to the next step, which requires some sort of documents to be uploaded. And these documents can be dragged and dropped here or simply uploaded by clicking choose file. And then the process continues. Now back in your administrative account, you will see that the status of that workflow has changed from, well, it will change to completed once it is completely done. So let me actually go through the motions to show it to you. So if I go to, let's say, I will just provide some dummy documents. So here's, let's say, the passport, and here is the utility bill. If you need to collect it, you click next, and then the workflow has finished. Now going back to the account, admin account, if I click refresh, you could see the status has changed to completed. Now that is quite crude, you might say, because we only have 2 statuses: sent when you send the invite and completed when it's finished. But what about interim steps? And what if those steps should have different types of statuses that should depend on, what type of widget was started or finished? Well, all of this can be done by you. So you could define in your template here, you could see the widget events icon, which allows you to specify bespoke statuses for each step, but not even statuses, actions. So you could say, okay, when the person has viewed the video, change the status to video viewed, and maybe email someone from the legal department that they should be ready for something. So you could define those events in a bespoke manner here and save it as a template so that those statuses can change as you wish each time you send that workflow. So that's the overview of the prospects portal group in a nutshell. Just to summarize, it's intended to be used with prospects or individuals who are not yet customers, so they don't have login details to portals. You want to send them something quickly by email. They should be able to view the proposal using just by clicking on a link. And that proposal can include pretty much, well, all the necessary widgets that you would expect from a pre-onboarding workflow or a quote. And that includes signing documents, showing services, accepting the quotes, making payments, and filling out questionnaires. So now once a person is onboarded, you may then decide, okay, fine, now I'm ready to invite the person to a client portal and then continue the onboarding process and the delivery of the project through the portal. In which case, what you would do is you would go to portals and then click on a regular portal, which is not a prospects portal, such as this one. And here you will see the list of existing portals that I've already created. You could create a new one. Now, I'm not going to go too deeply into the sort of the regular portals functionality here because we've covered it in the previous webinar, which you could view online. But just to mention, it's also highly customizable. You could select the widgets you want, rename them, and also expose specific workflows straight in the tabs here, or you could embed them in the workflows tab here in the portal. So that's pretty much the new feature. Now, the last comment I want to make about prospects is that if you run a bigger sales team, what you could do is create a prospects group for each individual team or a person, and then restrict access to each team could have access just to their prospects group so that they don't see or interfere with other people's leads, so to speak. And that could work fairly well if you have a distributed team or if your sales team is organized in a way where you should segregate the data. So pretty much you could create any number of portal groups with prospects icon settings turned on. Now, the final note about the prospects portal group is that we use the sales flows functionality there to actually show the services. Well, that means, those services need to be already loaded, and I've preloaded sort of a standard list of services that most accounting firms are familiar with. These can be loaded very easily through our bulk uploader through a CSV file. And you could also create packages by assembling different types of sort of services from different groups. And those packages could then be easily triggered through workflows as well. Right. So I think that's the new feature. We will continue innovating in that space. So there will be more. There are more bells and whistles coming about prospects, and we would very much welcome your feedback about what is it that you think is currently missing and you'd like to see more of. But we've already identified a number of improvements, and they will come online pretty much every other week. But as it is, the platform is very, as I hope I demonstrated, very easy to use, and you could start triggering workflows quickly. All you need to do is to have a couple of templates, and then it's just a couple of clicks away. So that's about it. If there are any questions, please ask them in the chat function. I'll wait for a few more seconds to see if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, I will stop here and then publish that webinar online probably within the next 24 hours. All right, I don't see any questions this time, so thank you very much for your attention, and hope to see you on one of our webinars in the coming weeks. Thank you very much indeed. Bye for now.